Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself. My name is Mr. Williams, and what we're going to be looking at today is multiplying and dividing fractions. Those are two separate topics, but we are going to put those together in this video. Okay, you have already seen the strategies that it takes in order to deal with adding or subtracting fractions. Okay. And here's the first thing that I want to tell you. The strategies that we use to add and subtract fractions, they do not apply when we are multiplying. The strategies that we use when we are adding, subtracting fractions, they do not apply when we multiply. Okay? And so let me show you what I mean by that. And the one in particular that I'm talking about is the least common multiple. Okay, so let's say that you have 3 over 15 times 2 over 10. Okay, 3 over 15 times 2 over 10. Okay, now with these numbers, you might look at this and say, oh, okay, I learned this before. We need to get the same denominators at the bottom. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Don't do that. All right. So what you are going to do, and this is what I like to say, I need to say this because there are some times where students will hear you multiply across, and here's what they really hear. You cross multiply. Cross multiply is not multiplying across. And so you have to forgive us as teachers that sometimes we'll say things and we think you understand it, but it just needs a little bit further clarification. And so I'm not going to say multiply across. Here's what I'm going to say. Multiply the numerator times the numerator and the denominator times the denominator. So 3 times 2 is 6 and 15 times 10 is 150. So when you look at it like that, just multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. There is no way for you to mess that up, only in the actual multiplying, which we'll work on that. Okay. Now that you have that, you looked at, okay, we don't need LCM in this case, but let's look at relatively prime and reducing this fraction. It is a very good practice, even though this is technically the answer. Let me tell you what happens in every single math class wherever you're learning math. And it's this. You want to make sure that your answer is in the simplest form that it can be. And so again, if we do the 2, 3, 5, you can check it out. Okay. We could divide by 2 here because they're both even. Okay. You could divide by 3 because they're both multiples of 3. But you can't divide by 5 because they both don't end in a 5 or a 0 like that one doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to use the higher number, which is 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Here's the rule for 3. If the digits add up to a multiple of 3, then that number is divisible by 3. 6, there's nothing to add it up to. But these digits has 3 digits here. And if you add them up, 1 plus 5 plus 0 equals 6. And 6 is a multiple of 3. Okay. If the digits add up to a multiple of 3, it is divisible by 3. Okay. So now you're going to get 2 over, and then this one is going to be 50, right? 150 divided by 3, you get 50 here. And then we look at, okay, 2 and 50. those can actually be divided by 2 because they're both even. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and you get 1/25. One of the questions that I've gotten whenever we have done certain operations like this is, how do we know when to stop dividing, Mr. Williams? And here's what I'm going to tell you. When they are relatively prime, and again, you have to know what that definition is, and here's what that means. There is no number that we can divide, no whole number that we can divide both of these by in order to get an even smaller fraction, okay? This is your simplified fraction. This has been Mr. Williams with Math Minutes. And as I always tell my students, spread the gospel, not gossip.